Here's a thought experiment. Imagine you were asked to build a house. You can build anything you want as long as the house meets 3 simple criteria. It needs to be built fast, made cheap, and it should be good. Now this might seem very simple on the surface, but these 3 things are impossible to have at the same time. A good, cheap house will take time to build. A cheap, quickly built house won't be good, and a quickly built, good house can't come cheap. Realistically, you can only meet 2 of these criteria fully, or compromise on all 3. But before you get to that point, you need one other thing first: interest. Does this thought experiment have your interest? Because without that, you can't solve the problem. So that's what this video is about. Building an interest in creating change. A change to Delhi's mobility network. Because before we can demand the government fix things by making them good, doing it fast and for cheap, we need to take an interest. But first, what is a mobility network? Well, it's basically all the ways you can get around an urban space. In Delhi, those are roads and everything or everyone on them, and the metro. Now, while the metro is seemingly not affected by roads, no one can utilize metros without utilizing roads also. This is called first and last mile connectivity. Basically, getting from your origin to metro station A and from metro station B to your destination. So back to roads. If you drive or ride a motorcycle in Delhi, you have definitely experienced a traffic jam. Buses use the same road network, and so they're in the same jams. But besides the modes of transport that use internal combustion engines, the ones that run on fossil fuels, there are other often forgotten members of the mobility network: cyclists and pedestrians. Most people on the road think that it's built for cars and cyclists should go somewhere else. And if you look at cycling as a hobby, you might only cycle in places that don't have too many cars or buses. That would make you a hobby cyclist. But there are those who don't have the comfort of choosing where they cycle because their jobs, their livelihood depends on it. Livelihood cyclists. To understand what they go through, I spoke to Naubat Singh, a livelihood cyclist who lives in East Delhi and travels between 15 to 25 kilometers on his bicycle daily. Naubat Singh has been cycling since 1997, so he has some incredible insight into the lives of livelihood cyclists and how things have changed over the past 25 years.
साइकिल चला करके काम करते हैं एजेंसी के लिए, अपना इंश्योरेंस के लिए। साइकिल से जाने में रिस्क रहता है, बड़े वाहनों से असुरक्षा दिखाई देती है। तो उससे ये चाहते हैं कि हर रोड पर ट्रैफिक के लिए लाइन बनाई जाए, अलग अलग लाइन बनाई जाए, जिससे कि हर व्यक्ति को सुरक्षा मिले। उसमें अधिक से अधिक ट्रैफिक हो गया रोडों पे, घर में गाड़ियाँ हो गई हैं, तो उससे ट्रैफिक बढ़ता जा रहा है। तो जो साइकिल चलाने वाले व्यक्ति हैं उनके लिए तो मुश्किल होती जा रही है। कोई वाहन हो अपनी अपनी लाइन में चला, इस तरह की गवर्नमेंट व्यवस्था करे।
For Naubat Singh and millions like him, the choices are very limited. People on the roads don't respect cyclists. Cars and anyone with an engine thinks it's their road to use. But Naubat Singh's job pays a commission, meaning the more places he gets to, the more money he makes. He can't take his cycle on the metro or a bus, so those options aren't available to him either. Of course, he has thought about buying a scooter, but that would be a huge financial commitment as well. This is all starting to sound familiar because it is the good, fast and cheap problem. He can ride fast and risk his safety, ride slow and risk his job, or spend money to buy a scooter, meaning a compromise has to be made. So what can we do to help? Well, the big aim is to transition to a decarbonized transportation system, which many of us might associate with electric vehicles. But before we can completely overhaul the system, we have to remember this will be good, but that means it can't be fast and cheap. There is a lot to be done before we have EVs for all. So instead, a great place to start is by making cycling a comfortable and safe mobility option. Luckily, human beings don't have internal combustion engines, so this form of travel is actually one of the cleanest and most efficient as well. To be clear, several studies have shown that wider roads don't help traffic. They simply invite more automobiles onto the roads. And while Delhi does have bike lanes, they are limited to posh neighborhoods and are disconnected from the rest of the city. But with this video and you, the citizens, taking an interest, we aim to improve the infrastructure for cycling. The first of many steps to a sustainable mobility network. And not only will this help those who have to travel by road, but it also improves that first and last mile connectivity, making the bus and metro systems more effective. With this video, we're aiming to raise awareness about the subject and stand for those who need it. So, with your help, we want to reach as many people as possible. Share this video with your friends to help them understand the issue. Next, talk about the issue with the elected leaders in your area. Make sure they know that this matters to you. Making a huge change like this must start with the first step, but in 5 years' time, we'll be glad we took it. This isn't just about the lives of people like Naubat Singh, but everyone that both they and we care about. Let's help Delhi breathe again.